Hi, welcome back to another episode of Unique Moments, where we take a moment to breathe and take a moment to be, connecting mind, body, and spirit. We're back with another episode, and the card I pulled for this episode, which is so funny because I shuffled these at random, and the card I pulled was Call Mom. And how funny that this Sunday is Mother's Day. So I thought that was very fitting. And there's an interpretation. This is from the Self-Care Oracle. And it says, while often the reprise of a joke, calling your mother or mother figure or mentor is something we all should do more often. That relationship is wholly unique. No one else understands you in the same way. No one else can listen in the same way. They've been through it and they know how to guide you through it. And then the practice is, of course, call your mother. It says, tell them what they mean to you. And if you're lucky enough to be in the mother position, call the person who looks up to you. Tell them how special they are. And I'm just so happy that we got that card nearing Mother's Day. So just to talk about the card first, I think not everyone has the best relationship with their mom. Not everyone has their mom living. Maybe your mom is your best friend, or I know for me, it's not a love-hate relationship. Never hated my mother, but it's a trial and tribulation relationship. Let's say that. At the end of the day, that's my mom. I love her so much, and I'm so grateful for her and for everything that she's done for me and for everything that her mom has done for me and my dad's mom. And yeah, they're just beautiful, beautiful women. And so I think in general, if you have a good relationship with your mom, if she is still living, call her. Even if, yes, for Mother's Day, of course, call her for Mother's Day. But beyond the holiday, beyond the material sentiment and whatever gift you're going to get her, really appreciate her. They say that being a parent is one of the most thankless jobs because, your child didn't choose to be born on one level. On one level, I believe they did. That's another story for another day. But you have this child that you have to care for, and they might not always say thankful. They might not always say thank you. I know I was a very ungrateful child at times, but I did love my mother, and I think they don't always hear that. They don't always hear thank you. They don't always hear, how much they really mean to you, and it's just nice to hear, and only if you mean it. Obviously, if you have a toxic relationship with your mom, if there's trauma there, if your mom is no longer living, then maybe the message hits a little different. But I think at the core of it, and like the card was saying, it might be a mentor, it may be a mother figure, it might not be your blood mom. Some people's grandmas are their moms or feel like their moms. Whoever that lady is in your life, and I think specifically the mom, the mother figure, right? It's life. Like, she gave you life. If we're talking about it in a very real general blood sense, like, there is no other person in the world that you were born from. You came out of one woman. You have one mother, unless you have a stepmother and a foster parent. Obviously that's different, but I'm talking about your biological mother. There's only one of those. And if you are lucky enough, if you are gracious enough to have a relationship or have a connection, or maybe you're rebuilding a connection or regaining a connection with your mother figure, reach out to them. And maybe you are in no contact or not on speaking terms. You can reach out in a prayer. You can send a prayer. That still works. And, just to let them know that you're thinking about them. Or maybe you were the mother figure. Maybe you had to raise some brothers and sisters. Maybe you have children. Think about it, Moms are just so important. And I think a phone call is really special. Texts, are impersonal. And even if you meet for lunch, if you meet for brunch, if you go out for Mother's Day, that's still all fine. But I think there's something about a phone call to let them know not only Happy Mother's Day, or not only I love you, but I'm thinking of you. I'm lending you my time. Time is the most precious resource that we don't get back. So you could do it in person, but as the card is saying, call mom, call her. not to ask for something, not to gossip, not to complain, not to do whatever else it is you do on your conversations with your mother, but just be in gratitude and be grateful and be gracious for this mother figure or mentor or someone who you consider like a mom, because they do know. Moms really do know best. Again, unless you got a little situation, not talking to you. But most of the times, your mom always knows. Moms know their children, and they know more than we think they know. A lot of the times, especially nowadays, millennials, Gen Zs, just soon to be Gen Alpha, arguably, we probably know more than our parents. We were born in the age of information. We know a lot of things. We have access to a lot of things. So we probably know a great deal more than them, but they have way more life experience than we do. Way more life experience that carries knowledge that we can't find on Google, that we can't find on ChatGPT. Like, they've experienced life. They've seen this world change year after year, decade after decade, and they've had to have picked up some knowledge and some nuggets of wisdom and some things along the way. My mom, she'll just say little things that I don't even think about in the moment, but I take with me. Like I can't even think of an example, but it's just little things like that. And I'm sure everyone has their one thing with their mom or their mother figure that it's like, thank you. So I just take some time to say thank you to your mom, your mentor, your mother figure. Thank yourself if you are a mom. Shout out to all the moms, aunties, grandmas, raising kids, cousins, people who are in that mother role, because it's not easy caring for another life, caring for another human being, protecting them, watching over them, praying over them, caring for their well-being, making sure that they generally get on okay, because life is really crazy. So happy Mother's Day if you are a mother, and call your mother. Even if it's not on Mother's Day, just call her just to say, hey, how are you doing? How's it going? What's going on? What's going on in your life? Maybe give me the tea. Maybe not only talk about the tea, but what's going on? What's really going on? And Grace also, she shared a lot of beautiful things about her and her mother. So please go check that out at touchedbygrace.blog. She writes about the Call Mom card. And yeah, she shares some really neat things about her mom from her perspective. Okay, and then to get into the episode, so this is about plants. And originally, to be very honest, I didn't have an intention or a plan with this episode. So all of the topics came to me intuitively, and I believe they're all purposeful. But with this one, I didn't really have a direction or a plan. So we're just going to freestyle. We're going to go with it. We're going to see what comes out. So plants, obviously, they are good for our health. They are good for providing us oxygen, and aesthetically, they're just pleasing. I have a lot of plants around my house. Well, I say a lot. I have 3. I have 3 plants around my house. But even then, it just elevates the vibe. It elevates the vibe. It makes you feel like, I don't know. It's good to have something living. It's good to have something living in your space, not only to beautify it, but to purify it. There are specific plants that are air purifiers that do help you breathe easily. But I think in general, all plants are just important. And I'm sure there's a lot of studies on why plants are necessary, but really, I just like them. Like when I take my walks, I could literally look at the different trees and flowers and even the grass sometimes. The grass is a plant. I think we forget that. But it's just so magnificent how natural it all is. And again, there may not be a point to this, but I think in terms of healing, because we're always going to bring it back to the mind, body, and spirit, right? I think spiritually, plants give us something that's almost indescribable that we can't really communicate. Why do women like getting flowers? Yeah, because they're pretty. Yeah, because you thought of them. This is a gift. But there's something deeper there. There's a space that opens. Eckhart Tolle talks about this in his book A New Earth. There's a space that opens up in a different dimension when we're looking at inanimate objects like birds or flowers or trees. It's like, because they're breathing, they're living. We can't talk to them, but they are alive and they are objects that we can connect with. So there's a part of our spirit that connects with that energy, and we don't even have to say anything. We don't have to say, "Oh, look how pretty," or "What is this flower called? What is this?" You don't even need to name it. There's something within you. There's a level of knowing, a level of consciousness within you that connects to that living, breathing Mother Earth energy. When you think about it, Mother Earth, a living, breathing plant, a living, breathing entity that we all live on and take for granted sometimes. But that's so powerful within itself. Without the trees, without the oxygen, without the plants, we would die. Not to be so, but literally we would die. And then personally, I found having plants. So a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't have a green thumb, and whenever I buy plants, they die. I'm going to kill it." That's really just a mindset. Like, maybe in the past you don't know how to take care of plants, but every plant is different. Every flower is different. Every succulent is different that you get. And there are instruction manuals. But I think when you get house plants and you really start caring for them, again, it does something for your healing. It does something to your mind and to your spirit. You probably aren't bad at taking care of plants. You just forgot to water it. You just quite literally don't know how much sunlight it needs to thrive. And this is not even what the episode is about, but you could say that we are plants. We need water to thrive. We need sunlight to thrive, to grow. Are you watering yourself? Are you giving yourself enough sunlight? Are you growing in the way that you need to be growing? Are your leaves wilted and yellow and shriveled? That wasn't even the message, but a message in itself. But back to what I'm saying, when you get house plants and you get over the fact that you aren't born with the green thumb and you decide, okay, I'm going to keep these plants alive. These plants are my babies. I name my plants. They are my babies. And it is sad when they die, but I'm in control of that. And I think when you get house plants, and kind of tying it back to the mom card, you're a mother now. You're a plant mom. You're a plant dad, And so are you going to let your kids die? Are you going to let your kids starve? Are you going to let your kids go thirsty? No, you're going to feed them. You're going to take care of them in a higher vibration. You're going to speak life into them. You're going to speak words of affirmation into them. And studies have shown that talking to plants does infect their growth and can negatively and positively infect their growth. You can speak into the water before you water them, and that will affect its growth. What are you saying to nurture this plant, to nurture this new life that you now have to take care of, to care for? And I think something happens because it goes back to the discipline and the responsibility piece. After a certain time, I think you kind of naturally know when to water your plants, or maybe you're watering them on a schedule, or making them get enough sunlight, or feeding them, fertilizing them. I think you kind of know at a certain point, but when you're first getting into it, it does do something to your mind and to your spirit. And I think to kind of, okay, no, I have to water my plants on Sunday. Like, I can't remember that. I can't forget that. And I think that does something. If you naturally have a bad memory or you're very forgetful, like, of course your plants are going to die. But if you make it a point, whether it's writing it down, setting a reminder notification in your phone, if you make a point, okay, got to water this plant today, got to make sure it gets this sunlight, got to prune, because you also got to prune your plants. When you're doing that, when you're getting into that rhythm of that, you're also building up discipline. Now you're disciplined at watering your plants. Discipline in one area of your life very often translates to discipline in another area of your life. And then I think you just get that nurturing that nurturing spirit. So we all have masculine and feminine energy in us, and depending on what you do and how you move, how you go about life, one may be more active than the other. Just because you're a man doesn't mean that you have more masculine energy that you're operating out of, and just because you're a woman doesn't mean you're operating out of mostly feminine energy. Sometimes it can be opposites, sometimes it can be balanced. We want it to be balanced. And nurturing a plant, cultivating, growing a plant, that taps into that feminine energy. So maybe you do need a little more of that. Maybe you are very hard and rigid and structured and logical and more on the masculine side of things in your life. Maybe that's how you operate. Simply getting a plant and caring for it, that is going to bring out some of that natural nurturing energy that we have as women, but also as men. We just have nurturing energy in our feminine side of the two that is within us. I feel like that was just like a word salad, but it activates that feminine part of you, and I think that softens you in a way, and especially if you're in a healing journey or in a process of healing. I think there's one side of it that can be like, okay, I looked at all my traumas, fears, mistakes, things that I've done wrong, and I'm just going to be better. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to do this and I'm going to change. And, it's very forceful. It's very which is like masculine energy. But the nurturing side of it, when you get a plant and you're healing, it's like it gives you permission to be soft. Like it gives you permission to be, I'm not talking about like zesty, sassy. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like just knowing that it's okay. Like that you can take it one step at a time, one day at a time. Plants, they grow slowly. You can slowly nurture that plant. You can slowly water that plant. You can slowly nurture yourself. You can slowly water yourself. It doesn't have to be 60 days, 90 days, third quarter. It doesn't have to be all of that. It doesn't have to be so rigid. It can be soft. It can be flowy. It can be nurturing like a plant. So maybe think of yourself as a plant today. Or if you have plants, take care of your plants. If you don't have plants, go get some plants. But I think that is all I have. So until next time.